what are your thoughts about that? Like, what do you think in this current moment in Chicago with this upcoming election?
The thing about Chicago is I think a lot of the nation has looked towards Chicago because there's been an enormous amount of organizing that's takes place throughout the years. Uh, Chicago has been known as one of the most, if not the most segregated city in the United States, and also has experienced, such inequality in education in terms of jobs. You've heard the expression, uh, last hired, first fired, right? A lot of Black
Mm-hmm.
folks and Mexican folks have had to do that. Yet the powers that be have tried to separate people based on color
That's
and
right.
immigration status. But but people are waking up. They don't play that no
Yes.
more, and they don't go for candidates that are going to put that out. If you look at the television commercials right now, they're clearly trying to reach back to a time in the past to try to scare people about things.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and so I'm just grateful to be part of it. Harold Washington, if you look at the history of Mayor Washington's campaign, it was based completely on grassroots stuff. That's how I cut my teeth, believe it or not, Reverend Erica. I came here in
Mm.
1984 as a college student at the University of New Mexico. My state
Mm.
legislator said, we got to be part of history. Can you come with me? And I said, yeah. We got on the road. We went to Chicago. They assigned me to an area around mainly Puerto Rican and Mexican neighborhood. They figured,
Mm.
well, this dude speaks Spanish. Maybe he can go to door to door. But let me tell you, the moment I knocked on the first door, I knew I was in a different city, because the woman that answered the door said, "You ain't from here, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm not, but I love what the mayor stands for." And she says, "Well,
Yeah.
you're calling him the mayor already. That's how we feel." And she goes, "Honey, you don't have to worry about our neighborhood, and go somewhere else to knock on doors, because this neighborhood is so solidly for Harold that we're going to close our precinct down before noon." And she was right. That
Wow.
that's how electrified there was. And it was because of these basic uh, things that were going on. First of all, folks knew that he stood for representing quality education for every person in the city, that he wanted
Yes.
to bring jobs to all parts of the city without any discrimination based on race. And he was piercing through that fear that,
Mm.
we gotta, just because they say we ain't got experience governing doesn't mean we shouldn't govern. We got experience running our
Ooh,
households. We got experience taking
that's
care of our
good.
babies, taking care of each other. It's time for us to govern. And that's the kind of thing that I think is under the surface, right? And being tapped into.
What would you encourage the folks out there who will hear this video? And we're trying to get folks out to vote, and make
Yeah.
sure that they vote with the people's agenda in mind. What would you say to folks, and just
Yeah.
really like try to have them think through as they're preparing to go to the polls?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Reverend Eric. I definitely want to continue to talk to you, and I'm honored to share this space with so many people that have really given their lives to this struggle. Right?
Hmm.
Once you recognize that things are unjust, that it's an unquenchable thirst. You got to go for it, because you recognize that you're not safe until everybody else is safe. Right? When I became a
Right.
father, and I'm honored to be the father of he's now 24 years old. He'll be 25 in May. Is that I
Yeah.
recognize that there's no way that I individually could keep my son safe. That I needed to fight
That's right.
for other families and their children, so that we could all be safe. That this individualism that gets promoted is dangerous, right?
That's right.
That that anything that I've ever been able to accomplish in my life is because I've had support, right? So
Hmm.
so so I'd like people
Hmm.
to look at things collectively, right? The other thing too is we've got to. I want people to not just get involved, but people need to study. They need to understand
Yeah.
our history in the United States, right? I'm
Yeah.
one of the things that became really clear to me as I started getting older is that as we look at the history of our country, our country was founded on, let's just call it, and I'm going to quote my buddy Luis Rodriguez, polluted soil, right? When you steal,
Hey.
when you steal black skin from another continent to
Ah,
enslave them, bring them here, when you steal the land from indigenous people, you're going to get polluted crops that come out of it, right? And so
talk now.
what we're living through is an expression of that, right? I mentioned in my talk the other night was that there's a reason why the powers that be make us think that they just keep us at the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. That is not the whole proverb, right? The rest of the proverb is the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth, right?
Talk,
So
Carlos.
when you think about all of the stuff that's going on with our kids, where if they're involved in gangs or they're using drugs, they're committing suicide or whatever, right? It's because the village ain't keeping them warm. The village ain't embracing them. So my thing is always, let's start with the children, right? We should be ashamed as a country because we don't take care of our children, right? I remember when my son was born and my wife felt horrible when she had to go back to work right away because she couldn't be there to help nurture him, right? And you know, and I made the point to her, I said, because America don't love its children, baby. And matter of fact, her boss was such a wonderful woman. She says, you know what? Probably shouldn't say this live, but you know, she's cool. He's already grown up. She said, you know what? I'm going to still pay you so you can stay home with your son for at least 3 months, right? But even that ain't enough, right? We need to take care of our moms, take care of our dads so we can nurture these kids. So as people go into this election, I'll just say that, measure it that way, right? There is no way that this system can be defended when you think about these children, right? And you've got to fight like hell. I don't know how any teacher that walks into a classroom anywhere in this country can go, there's something fundamentally wrong with this system. I need to do something about it. And so, so the election is an opportunity for us to talk on a greater platform about these issues. But then what we have to do is that hard work where we go and educate folks, organize them, mobilize them, and make sure that they talk to the people around them to go, this is the kind of society we want. We want a society that loves and nurtures everybody. Just despite what they have in their pocket, despite their skin color or their documented status, people are people. And my grandpa was my little Mexican Yoda, right? He was a wise man. He only had a 3rd grade education, and he used to use these proverbs. So I'm gonna end with this, Reverend Erica. He used to tell me, he goes, there ain't no such thing as borders. He used to say, cuando brilla el sol, brilla para todos. You know what that means, Reverend Erica? It means when the sun shines, it shines for everybody, right? And so he was making that point. And so he goes, mijo, you need to understand that, right? Everybody needs to be treated respect. You've got to love everybody, take care of everybody, and fight for everybody. That's about it.